Well, Mrs. Wizard, this is a nice little Q5 here.
Yeah, a lady just brought it in today for you to work on. She says it's kind of sluggish when she takes off and the check engine light's on. Think you can look at that?
Yeah, we can definitely take a look at that and see what's going on with it. Well, let's get to the bottom of what's going on with this thing, and let's get this checked out, and we'll see what we find right after this. So here we have a really nice 2012 Audi Q5. It's in here because it's really sluggish, especially from a light. When you go to take off from a red light, it takes a while to get power built up, and the check engine light is on. So this is going to be another one of those where you guys can guess what's wrong with this thing. Off the top of your head, if the customer was here standing in front of you, what would you say is wrong with this car? So is it a bad fuel pump or a fuel pressure issue? Is it a bad mass airflow sensor? Or is there something wrong with the turbocharger? I'll let you guys guess. I'll give you guys a little bit of time, see what you come up with. So we've already road tested this vehicle. We've already checked the codes. It is sluggish. When you try to give it any acceleration, it takes a while for it to build up any power. There is a check engine light on. There's a code for an underboost condition on the turbocharger, but really didn't find a whole lot else wrong. With an underboost condition, it can be a variety of different things that are wrong. It could be a diverter valve, it could be the N75 boost control valve, it could be a turbo leak, it could be some of the charge air pipes that go all through to the intercooler. It could be a busted elbow or something along that lines is losing boost. We checked all those things and we didn't find any other issue. We're going to go over a few things with you guys that shows the power of Identifix. It's a software or service that I use that really cuts down the diagnostic time. And if you have a vehicle with an Audi 2-liter 4-cylinder FSI engine, what we find today, what I'll show you, will apply to all of those. All of them. It is a very prevalent problem. So here I have the print off. I typed in the model year, the make, and everything, and the complaints, and also the check engine light code. And it gives a list of different things to check. It could be a PCV valve, the N75 valve, recirculation valve, which is the diverter valve. Wastegate actuator failed. Vacuum diaphragm on the diverter valve, which is not a case on this one. This has the upgraded diverter valve without the orange colored rubber diaphragm. It has the plastic cage. And we checked all those things, the small items, and we just kept coming up short. So we did check the fuel pump and check fuel pressure, and everything looked fine with that. We checked all the small things that are listed here. It even gives a description on how to check everything, which is really cool. And it came up with none of those problems were bad. None of those issues were bad, except for one. And I want to show you how common of a problem this is. The last problem that also had the most occurrences, turbocharger, 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 it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. 2 pages worth. 66 of them just in this area. So looking at those numbers, you could say, well, duh, it's a turbocharger. You don't want to jump to that without getting the data together. So this is going to be a really big bill for this customer. We've already verified what the problem is, but you don't want to jump to that without checking the small things first. Because you would look really stupid if you charged them a huge bill, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, whatever the bill comes up to be, and it ended up truly being a small $30 or $40 valve. We were hopeful. We really tried to prove that maybe it's one of those smaller issues for the customer, and we finally told her we've checked everything. And finally, when I checked the last thing, the most expensive thing, the turbo, it proved to be the problem. We've actually got the turbo out of this one. Let me show you guys what this thing looks like with the turbo out. As you can see, the turbocharger is part of the entire exhaust manifold. You can't just buy just the turbo. We had to take off the catalytic converter, all of these steel hard lines that went to the turbo. Also, this came off the turbo. There's lots of hoses and pipes that come off. And then you have to take off all the nuts that go to the cylinder head to get this thing off. It's quite an ordeal to get that out. It's not too bad, but it's definitely not a walk in the park type of a job. In order to discover if it truly is the turbocharger, you don't have to pull it all the way out like we've done already to verify it. There's a test that you can do, and it will show the common failure point on these turbochargers. It's something you can do while it's in the vehicle. You do need to have it on a lift, or possibly on, like this is currently, drive-on ramps to get some room underneath of you. Normally we would do this on a lift, but we're so swamped in the shop right now, all the lifts are tied up, and we definitely need to get this done for this lady. So we have the old turbo off. We have a brand new one in the box sitting beside it. I want to show you guys what we did while it was in the car to verify it is bad and it's time to shell out the cash for a brand new turbo. Let's take a look. So you guys just seen in a previous video that I bought a bunch of shelving and things, or actually Hoovy did. We've got most of them set up already, but we haven't had a chance to do anything with this one yet. And hey, it works perfect to do this right now. So here we have the old turbo out of the Q5, and here's a brand new one. It's an OEM one. So it comes with a new diverter valve, a new N75 valve, new wastegate actuator, everything brand new. This is the way I would want to sell it to a customer so that they can pay the bill and they can go on about their life and not worry about this for a very long time, if at all anymore, with the upgrades they've done. Let's take a look at this old turbo here and show you what we found. So there would be some that would say, yes, you can get just the turbo, the center portion right here, and get a new turbo. Why do you need to buy the whole thing? And it's because there's nothing wrong with this turbo by itself. It's this exhaust manifold housing. While this is up in the vehicle, which will sit like this, you can reach up underneath here to the actuator rod. It should be nice and tight. But when I reached up in here and grabbed it, it's floppy loose. The new one's not that way, and I'll show you here in a minute. There's a huge amount of play in this housing. The housing's worn out. It's shot. And here's the brand new one. Nothing. It is solid. I mean absolutely solid. No movement at all. And as you can see, they've upgraded a bushing inside of here. They know this is a known problem. This is the upgraded housing. This takes care of this problem. If you look over here on the old one, even the arm is different. Even the attaching point is different. They've upgraded a lot of things compared to the old setup. Let's take a look at see what's going on here. We've seen on the new one, it didn't move at all. Watch this. Look at that floppy wastegate. Look at this, guys. I can just spin it with my finger. How is that supposed to hold boost? It's just completely shot. There is no workaround for this. There is no quick fix for this. You'll be buying a new turbo. Let's go take a look at the new one. It does not move. I can put my whole strength on it. It doesn't move. Nice and solid. Now that will hold boost. That will be able to operate properly. This old one was losing its boost through the wastegate. You can see it's also the arm is worn out. There's a whole lot of play here. This is bad. That's bad. This is bad. I'm not going to piecemeal this together. I priced to the customer a new turbo. Take it or leave it. And she chose a new turbo wisely. I want her to be happy. I want her to drive her car and not have to mess with this again. And this is the solution to this problem. I typically don't do a lot of videos showing step by step how to unbolt everything. It just takes hours and hours. If I was a YouTuber that was by myself and I wasn't running a shop, I could totally do that for you guys. But you'll see here in a minute that we have so many cars in the shop right now. There's no way possible I can take time to do something like that. I do want to show you guys what we find with things and what the solutions to the problems were. We'll go ahead and get this new turbo assembly on here and it will take care of a problem. Based on what we just saw, it's guaranteed that's the problem. One last final reason that I like to also get the complete assembly is that she gets a new diverter valve, a new N75 valve, a new actuator, and a new turbo, everything new. This old one lasted almost 100,000 miles. This new one will probably last at least that much. When you look at things from that angle, the price is really not all that high to get this job done.
How much roughly is it going to cost her?
Oh, about $2,200. Half of that is the turbo. Now, you can probably go somewhere and find a cheap one from China or something that's way cheaper. I want a good warranty and I want good quality. This is an OEM setup. This is quite a lot of work, and even though there might be a warranty on a cheaper one, I don't want to do this again. And I guarantee you she doesn't want to do it again either, regardless if it costs or not. She doesn't want her car in the shop. We'll get this on and she'll be happy. We'll totally fix it. Some other great news is that we're almost done with the CL55 AMG doing the Strutmasters conversion. Unfortunately, it's been very slow to get the shipping. I wasn't aware that when you purchase these struts, they don't have them. You have to wait a week and a half before they even get them in the mail. So that was kind of upsetting. The customer's very understanding. I really enjoy doing business with this customer. But then once they get it in the mail, it's another 4 or 5 days before you get it. Luckily though, we have all the struts on. We're just waiting on the module that turns off the warning lights. That's all we have left. We have driven this vehicle, the power steering system works, and many people commented in the comments that when you would have this without sway bars, that would be just diving and weaving and bobbing and be horrible. No, it's not. Absolutely not. We went and drove it, we took some hard turns, and it maybe dips a tiny bit. That's it. I guarantee you the customer is going to be completely happy with this because he doesn't track this vehicle. He doesn't demand absolute performance out of this vehicle. Sure, you can add sway bars to it, but you have to change the control arms. You have to do a whole rigmarole of work, which would easily add 500, 1,000, 1,500. I'm not even sure it would add up so fast. It's easy to say you should do that, but what if the customer says, I don't want to pay for that? Then what? So, we're already pretty high on the bill. We're not going to keep tacking and tacking and tacking it on. It's going to be a running, driving car. It will be safe. It'll be totally fixed. Let's take a look at the struts. As you can see up in the wheel well, you can see a red colored bumper, and there's the coil springs. No more hydraulic suspension. It came with caps as well that capped off the hydraulic lines. We've already capped all those off and put the wheel liners back in. Everything went together very well. Let's take a look at the front. And up front you can see that we also have the struts replaced. You can see the red color bellows up there. This thing rides really well. When we went and drove it, I was amazed. I was like, wow. I was expecting it to be kind of firm, but it actually was very, very comfortable. No more ABC warning messages, no more hydraulic leaks, no more ABC mess. Just cruising down the road, enjoying the ride. And talking about waiting on parts, which a lot of cars in the shop are right now, let's take a look at another one before it heads out the door. You guys seen a previous video that we did on the '64 Impala SS. No, I don't have hydraulics on this thing. It's not bouncing. It's on jack stands. We got most of everything done on this. We got the wipers working again. We got the shocks all replaced. We took care of a power steering leak. We're still waiting on the shift shaft seal and a transmission pan gasket. As you can see underneath, you can probably see there's a puddle that's coming from those. But once we get those fixed, this car will be ready to go back to the customer as well. So I'm really excited to get this back to him. It is a really cool car. And it's been kind of fun to work on it. It's finally nice to get a nice one in here that's not roached out. It's actually enjoyable to work on something like this. The older cars are simpler to work on. Like you can imagine, you don't hook a computer to it and figure out what's wrong. You actually have to get in there and figure out what's wrong. But I'm looking forward to getting this one done. This is going to be really fun to deliver this back to the customer. So as you can see, in the Wizard shop, we are very, very busy. This is the third Bentley this week. We've had 3 in. I really like working on those. Those are fun. I love Bentley Continentals. But I better get back to it. I love making these videos for you guys, but I also have all of this resting on my shoulders. So I better get back to it. I wanted to thank you guys for watching and following along on what we found on the Audi. And although it's expensive, we are going to get it fixed for her and she'll have a happy car again. If you're curious what kind of tools I use, check all the links below. We have a lot of things listed in the description below. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, go ahead and do that now. We got many, many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.